where you can hide out. And one thing about the hideout is that in the hideout, there's certain things that can't find you. So see, the enemy comes looking for you, but you ain't where you used to be. See, the enemy goes looking for you in places that you're not anymore. So the enemy will come looking for you in the bar, but guess what? You ain't there no more. See, the enemy can come looking for you in the dope house, but you ain't there no more. So the enemy comes to look for you in places that you're no longer at. And guess what? God says, I'll be your hideout.
For the Lord our God is great. Perfect, Lord, in all your ways. God of mercy, Lord, I praise. Holy One, Ancient of Days. I will bless the Lord. Bless the Lord at all times. Hallelujah. Bless the Lord at all times. If you can bless the Lord, just put your hands together and give the Lord
If I don't get no help, I'm going to lose my mind. You ever have a DMX moment when you say, y'all going to make me lose my mind? Up in here. Y'all going to make me act a fool. Up in here. You ever have them moments where you just say, God, I need your help. And God, if you don't help me, I won't get help. Somebody shout help. Oh, come on now, shout it like you mean it, because maybe you ain't never been in this situation where your back was against the wall, but somebody who knows about needing help, shout help. Let me slow down here. Mama Rose, I want to get into this thing. I'm excited today in my spirit, Mama Rose. I'm excited about this word, but I need to slow it down here. I went from 0 to 100. Real quick. Did it real quick. But I need y'all to bring it back in here. Herm, you bring it back in. You stuck on DMX. It's his birthday, so he want to turn up some DMX. That's my dude right there. Herm, we go to the club, and Hermie didn't have but one dance move. Whether the song was fast or whether the song was slow. If it's a slow song, he would slow it down. But let it be a fast. But that same, it was smooth. That's and then he would turn it to the back. Oh, yeah. I don't know how he would bend over that far. Like he doing the limbo. He can't do it now. Once he hit them 50s, he need an ibuprofen. But no, really. Can I just take a moment and can I talk to my real folks in here today? Do I have any real folks in here today? No, really. Now, hold on now. When I say real folks, for y'all done got to clapping quick, I got a couple things that might disqualify you, but I'm talking to the ones who keep it 100. Got anybody in here who just keeps it 100? Anybody who just says that, hey, it's what I mean is what I mean. I said that, and that's what I meant, and that's just the way it is. I'm talking about the ones who have that what mentality. You know, like Terrell back there, Mr. Knox back there, he got that what mentality. You know, anybody who has that mentality of, you know, you might start your sentence with, hey, bruh, on the for real. You know what I'm talking about? You ever had somebody? Look at Dewana like, yeah, that's me. Don't mess with her. Leave her alone, y'all. On the for real. But no, so if I have some real folks in here, Trey, you one of them real folks? You keep it 100? I know my nephew keep it 100. I ain't even going to go there. But have you ever found yourself in a situation where you just feel trapped? Now, y'all just said y'all going to keep it 100 now. So you ever find yourself where you just feel trapped? I mean, a situation where you just feel like your back is against the wall. You ever feel that? I mean, I mean, your back is against the wall. You just feel like your back is against the wall. A situation, one of them situations where you can't even blame anybody but yourself. You know what I'm saying? I can only blame myself. One of them situations where I begin to scratch my head, Dre, and I say, how in the world did I get myself into this? Well, somebody know what I'm talking about right there. And it seems like everything that you do, it just ain't good enough. It just seems like everything that I do gets magnified. It's fine what you do, but everything I do seems to be magnified. You know, I feel like Tupac up in here, all eyes on me. You know, I'm feeling rappy, churchy all of a sudden. Ratchet? Wow. But I just, you have the moments where you feel like all eyes on me. Anybody, you ever feel that way? And you feel like just no matter how hard I try, it's just not good enough. And then you find yourself in a battle, a constant battle. You find yourself in this struggle, and you feel like, man, this struggle is never going to end. Anybody? Okay, yeah, okay. And see, listen, but if that is you, I need you to understand one thing about a struggle. Because, see, a struggle will take you further than you want to go, and it'll keep you longer than you want to stay. That's what a struggle will do. And if you don't break the cycle of a struggle, then a struggle will become your home. See, it's important that you get that. I got to say that again because what we do, too many of us are caught up in this repetitive cycle of a struggle. And I need you to know that if you don't break the cycle of a struggle, then a struggle will become your home. That's why I told you on Wednesday night, I told you that too many of us, we find ourselves living on Struggle Street when God created us to live on Blessing Boulevard. God has so much more for us, but yet we seem to always settle for less. And so when we find ourselves in this situation, when we find ourselves under the jurisdiction of the enemy, we find ourselves, when I say jurisdiction, I'm talking about the authority, the control, the influence. When we find ourselves under the influence of the enemy, we must remind ourselves, we must be reminded that this is only a setup. This is only a setup. Somebody say it's a setup. So I need you to understand when it comes to a setup, what a setup is. Jay Ryan, a setup is nothing more than just a trick. A setup is a trap. I was telling Hermie the other day, we were talking about something, and we talked about it being a trap. I said, I'm going to preach that. It's a trap. But then as I begin to put some notes together on it's a trap, I begin to realize it's not a trap, it's a setup. And so a setup here is something that is well thought out. A setup is something that is planned. It's something that is strategical. A setup is something that is organized. So we must understand that everything that the enemy intends for your bad, God intends it for your good. God is a God of a turnaround. So when the enemy comes at you with something negative, God wants to turn it into something positive. Why do you think that we always say that our test becomes our testimony? That just simply means that the things that I go through in life, they come so that now I can begin to testify. I can begin to be a witness and say, you know what? I got myself into the situation, but this God I serve got me out of the situation. I came around and made the mess, but God came behind me and cleaned the mess up. You ever had a situation where you made a mess and somebody else had to clean it up? I know you've been on the flip side of that coin. I can say I've been on the flip side of that coin where I didn't make a mess, but I had to clean it up. Y'all ought to see when Kaylee come to the house. My little beautiful grandbaby back there. She's pretty, but she'll leave a mess behind. And guess who got to clean it up, y'all? She said it right, Gigi. I'm not cleaning that up. Kaylee's baby made that mess. Ain't it quick? She go quickly from my grandbaby to Kaylee's baby. But when she's loving and kind, that's my baby right there. She's back there laying like that, half asleep. That's my grandbaby right there. She get to running around and acting a fool. I tell Ryan, get your granddaughter now. We got to evict this. So but we must understand that everything that the enemy means for our bad, God turns it around for our good. You know, I begin to think of Pastor Ryan's message last week. Man, that message was fire last week. She said, don't kill the king. Woo. But that was deep because so many times we want God to remove our enemy, not understanding that God, it's a setup, not understanding that God has our enemy there because our haters make us greater. You know, your hater is designed to make you greater at whatever it is you find yourself going in front of. You can begin to say, now, hold on. But here's the thing. I don't want God to eliminate my haters. Just show me their playbook. That's all I want him to do. God, give me a discernment. See, the Bible says that we are to know them that labor among us. So in other words, it's saying that we must be aware. We must understand the people around us and what their assignment is, because their assignment could be to kill you. That's their assignment. But God's assignment is to deliver you from the snare and the trap and the setup that they place before you. So I began to look at the message that Pastor Ryan had last week. And she talked about David. And Mom Rose, she talked about King Saul. And King Saul, he was one of them haters. And so they said that they went to war. And see, here's the thing. David was under King Saul. But David was a man of war. So, see, King Saul, he was known, he went out and he killed his thousands of men. David came along behind him, yet under him, went out and killed his 10,000s. So now listen, you still getting the shine. I'm the one that did it, but that's just like Estevan. Estevan go do a job for Collier Electric. Guess who getting paid for it? He gonna get a portion of it, but that check coming right over here. You see what I'm saying? So if he shines, I shine. I'm not jealous of myself. They put comments all on Angie's list and all that. And they say, oh, he is a great young man. He did a wonderful job. I don't get mad. I said, that's my boy right there. But see, Saul wasn't like this. See, Saul got jealous. So Saul said, okay, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill that man. So David's like, man, I didn't do nothing. I mean, yeah, I killed a bunch of people in war, but that's what a warrior's supposed to do, but now here you are mad at me, but see, back then you didn't know me, and now see there, y'all need to get it together here. Now that I'm a mighty man of valor, a mighty man of war, now all of a sudden you mad at me. And so he begins to say to him, he says, hey, I got to go on the run. King Saul's out to kill me. So David says, okay, I'm fearful. So he goes on the run. Takes some men with him. They go, they're hiding out. So King Saul takes 3,000 men and says, we're going to find David in his little boot camp of a few guys that he has, and we're going to kill him. So this is where Pastor Ryan taught us last week that Saul and his men were resting. God caused a deep sleep to go. They've been searching for David in caves and mountains and hillsides and everything else. So they're tired. They go to take a break. They're going to sleep for the night. David pimps up on them real smooth while they're sleeping, and he takes the man's water jug and his spear. How you going to take the man's water jug and his spear? Now, that's messed up. We in the desert. It's hot. I ain't got no water. But now listen, the story, it even gets deeper than that, because even before that happened, let me tell you what happened. They go into a cave, or they're searching around this cave and this mountainside looking for David and his men. They can't find him. Why? Because David and his men are hiding in this cave. They're in Engedi, and they're hiding in this cave. Well, they look all around. Saul and his men, 3,000 men, can't find David and his comrades. He can't find his servants. He can't find his warriors, right? So they take a break. And Saul says, I got to use the restroom. Now, mind you, back in the Bible days, they didn't have no porta-johns. They didn't have no men's and women's restroom. So, hey, listen, Saul had to relieve himself. Duty calls. That's right. So that'll give you an idea. It wasn't the number one that he had. I don't want to sound graphic, but I need to get you to see this. It wasn't the number one, so he didn't want to be out in public. So what he did was he found him a cave. So King Saul found this cave to relieve himself. And so back in the day, they had on these long robes that they wore. And so if you have to go use the restroom, you can't just slide the robe to the side. You got to remove it. So he goes in this cave all along, not knowing that David and his men are in the cave. Talk about God delivering your enemy right into your hand. Talk about catching a brother at his most vulnerable point. Literally. What you gonna do? Okay, now listen, I think y'all with me here. You get it now? You can't, how you supposed to fight like that? So, Mom Rose, I need you to get it together now. So now listen, he's in this cave. David and his men are in the back of the cave. Shh, nice and quiet. So the men say to David, ain't that Saul, King Saul, the one who is coming after us to kill us? David said, yeah, that's him. That's him. They're like, let's get him. Let go. David said, no, we ain't going to do that. We ain't going to do that. Even though he's not acting the way he was chosen to act, he's still anointed by God. And I'm not going to kill God's anointed. You ever find yourself when you know you're anointed by God, but you're just not acting the way that you were created to act? You ever find yourself as a king that God created you to be, yet you've taken your crown and set it to the side while you act a fool, and then everybody wants to throw you away, but then there's one man who still recognizes that even in their mess, they are still anointed. They are still highly favored by God, and there's still purpose and destiny for their life. You'll understand that if somebody has thrown you away. You'll understand that as if you got off track and now all of a sudden ain't nobody got no holler for you. Nowadays they call it church hurt. You understand that if you've gone to church and you've had people judge you and you've had people point their finger at you and you had people look down their nose at you as if they're better than you. So we find here that David says, no, we're not going to kill him. We're not going to do that. You know. Yes, he's doing all that he's doing. He's seeking to kill me. But I'm not going to render evil for evil. So what he does is, you know David's moves. David was sneaky, y'all. Pimped up on him real smooth. He took out his knife. Y'all think it's going to go down, right? He cut off a section of his robe that laid there on the ground. Took the section of the robe and tippy-toed back off into the deeper part of the cave. King Saul didn't even know what happened. He got done, headed on out of the cave, and went on back to meet his men over the hillside. But as he was on his way up the hill, David came out of the cave and said, King Saul. Forgetting something here, player. Throw me that towel. He said, you missing something? Remember this? He said, listen, I don't want no trouble. He bowed down before him. Y'all think I'm playing. Y'all can look it up. It's 1 Samuel 24. Find that. I'm telling you, read it. It'll bless you. He'll have you cracking up. So he tells him, he said, listen, King Saul, all your men are saying that I'm out to kill you, but I'm not out to kill you. Because if I wanted to kill you, I could have killed you while you were at your most vulnerable point. But I didn't do that because my assignment is not to kill you. My assignment is to help you. You ever have somebody who their assignment is to help you, but instead they want to kill you? They want to kill your dreams. They want to kill your hopes. They want to kill your ambitions. You go to them and say, guess what? God gave me this in a dream, and I want to own my own company, and this is what he told me I can do. And they say, boy, you better get on out of here with that. You know how much money it costs to do that? You ever had somebody kill your dreams? It's a setup. It's a setup. So King Saul says, you know what? Wow, David, you're really not what everybody says you are. You ever find yourself saying, I knew that. You know what I'm saying? Where you say, I'm not what everybody thinks I am. I'm not that person. And so he tells David, he says, David, I see that you're not what everybody says you are. I see that you're not out to kill me, because I'm telling you right now, I would have killed you, but you didn't kill me. You knew I was coming to get you, yet you could have got me, yet you didn't get me. And so I thank you. Now I feel like I owe you. David said, you don't owe me nothing. Just recognize that only God can cause me, a man of war, not to kill you. So King Saul said, I appreciate you, and I'm here to tell you right now that once I go over this hill, it's over with. Me and you, we cool. King Saul, you said, that's what's up. Right. King Saul went over that hill. He got down there with his men, and he said, I found him. I found David. Him and his men are in the cave. Let's go get him. Charge! Ain't that something? You ever cut somebody a break and then they don't want to give you the same respect you gave them? Let me bring it a little closer to you. So we talking about killers and everything else. You know, some of y'all are saying, I ain't no killer, just don't push me. But give me an example I can relate to, right? I was at the bank. I bank at Right Pat, right? Right Pat has two doors. There's the one set of doors, then there's a little entryway, and then there's another set of doors. I open the door for the guy to go in. I'm first. I open the door for him to go in. He goes in. Now when we get to the next set of doors, he gonna return the favor, right? Nope. And went on in. I said, what? You ever have somebody where you do the right thing and then they don't? That bugs me. At least say thank you, like I'm the bellhop here. You think I'm just door service. You know, I never understood that. I don't work here. Y'all need to get delivered. See how y'all are? So he goes after him anyway. Now remind you, that's chapter 24. Pastor Ryan taught us chapter 26, and chapter 26 is they were still coming after him, and then that's when David said, we're going to try this one more time. That's when he rolled up on him, took his water jug, took his spear, and said, this is your last warning, player. This is not how it's supposed to go. So then at this point in time, then guess what? David began to recognize that, you know what? The only thing that's keeping me and my crew safe is God himself. It's not because I outsmarted King Saul. It's not because I outsmarted the enemy. It's because God loved me enough to protect me. Do you know that God loved you enough to protect you, that even when you did wrong, he did right? Let's go to the scripture. Go to Psalms 91. I want to show you something in the NLT. Psalms 91. So when David realizes it's not because of my good looks, it's not because of my charm, it's not because of how skilled of a warrior I am, he says, listen here. He said, I declare about the Lord. This is what I declare. I declare that he alone is my refuge. I need y'all to get that, because there comes a time when you have to realize that the only reason I've not been consumed is because of this God that I serve that is my refuge. You know, that's important that we see that, because, see, matter of fact, Tyrell, you was in a, listen to this, y'all. Can I tell your story over there? This man is coming back from vacation. This man is minding his own business. He ain't doing nobody no harm. He's got the family with him. They're coming back from a vacation where they had a great time. They're coming down through the mountains, and a car coming the other way sideswipes them. Do you realize that that could have been a head-on? Do you realize that they could have ran them off the road? Do you realize all of the different options that could have happened? But simply because God is his refuge, he protected him. He protected his family. He could have stayed at home and said, I was just shooken up. Pastor Eric, I didn't want to come today because I was tired and I couldn't sleep last night because of what happened. But he found himself in the house of the Lord on today. Oh, put your hands together for that one. We realize God didn't have to do it, but he did. So he goes on here and he says that he's not only my refuge, he's my place of safety. He is my God. This is what David said. He is my God. What's that next part say? And I trust him. See, there's a difference in him being your God and you trust in him. Do you realize that that's a two-part right there? He can be your God, but do you trust him? Because if you truly trust him, then there's certain things that you do to show that you trust him. So if I go to sit down in one of these chairs, I trust that that chair is going to hold my weight because that chair looks like it's strong enough to hold a big brother up. But at the same time, let that chair look like one of them old wicker chairs, and I bet you I'm going to sit just a little more delicate. Because how often are we gently settling in when God says, just rest in me? So he goes on in verse number 3, and he says here, hey, looky here, he will rescue you from every. Remember I told y'all it's just a setup. That's all it is. Remember, hey, Dre, I told you what a trap was. It's something strategical. It's something that's organized. It's something that's planned out for my demise, but he'll rescue me from every trap, and he'll protect me from every deadly disease. Oh, we can go back to 2020. Y'all remember there was this thing called coronavirus? You remember that? COVID-19. Oh, some of the residues of it still lingering on. But look at you with your saved self. Some of you got it before. Some of you didn't. Some of you got the shot. Some of you didn't. But look at you still standing. Look how God has still kept you. Mama Rose, it was designed, and a lot of the elderly people couldn't handle it. I call them my seasoned saints. There's a lot of seasoned saints, 60, 70, 80 years old, that didn't make it through the pandemic, but look at you coming here strong and healthy and looking good. Don't tell me what God can't do. He says that I'll protect you from the deadly disease. Go to verse 7. Let me show you this. Because when we're talking about this deadly disease, it says, though 1,000 are dying all around you, guess what? You see that? These evils will not touch you. Do you know how many people throughout the world have died as a result of this pandemic? But look at you. Only because he says, look, 10,000, thousands and 10,000s are dying all around you, but this evil ain't touching you. Would you say, can't? Oh, that's MC Hammer that said that. Can't touch this. You still got them parachute pants? I'm telling you, yeah, so I'm telling you, it can't touch this. I'll leave my brother alone, Ann. Ann laughing at my brother. Don't be laughing at my brother. D used to do that same dance. I remember it. Oh, yeah. He come in. Oh. There you go. Look, he's doing it. Ah! Get him, Herb. So now listen. The only reason why the evils will not touch you, go to verse 9. Let me tell you why the evils can't touch y'all. See, verse 9, it says, if you make the Lord your refuge. See, now listen, I got to let y'all know because some of y'all are wondering, what's a refuge? Let me help you out. See, a refuge is a place of shelter. A refuge is a safe haven. A refuge is a hiding place. A refuge is a place of protection. A refuge is a place where you can hide out. And one thing about the hideout is that in the hideout, there's certain things that can't find you. So see, the enemy comes looking for you, but you ain't where you used to be. See, the enemy goes looking for you in places that you're not anymore. So the enemy will come looking for you in the bar, but guess what? You ain't there no more. See, the enemy can come looking for you in the dope house, but you ain't there no more. So the enemy comes to look for you in places that you're no longer at. And guess what? God says, I'll be your hideout. I'm going to hide you. I got you. So he says, get this. He says, this is how I'll be your hideout. The only way I can be your hideout, the only way I can be your refuge, the only way I can be your strength, the only way I can be your protection is if you make the Most High your shelter. Does anybody know who the Most High is? See, the Most High, yeah, he's God, but he's not any old God. He's the God of gods. He's the King of kings. He's the Lord of lords. He's the great I am. He's the lily of the valley, the bright and morning star. He's that rose in Sharon. He's that one who was, that one who is, and that one who is to come. He is the Alpha, and he is the Omega. He is the beginning. He is the end, and he's everything in between. He said, I'll be whatever you want me to be. He's that balm in Gilead. He'll be when you need help. He said, I got you, but you just got to yell help. Somebody shout help. So we begin to ask the question, who is this King of glory? The Lord God, strong and mighty. Who is this King of glory? The Lord God, mighty in battle. And so he begins to say that if you begin to let me shelter you, I got you. I got you. I won't let anything happen to you. Next verse says this is what will happen. In 10, he says, look, no evil can conquer you. Dewana, look here. No plague will come near your home. You know why? Do you imagine how many things try to tear your home apart? No. They got these cicadas coming for me now. That's a plague. You can't say it ain't no plague. Me and my wife drove to Columbus yesterday. These big old things hitting my windshield. I said, Jesus. It can't come near my home. You notice how it ain't came to Troy yet? Y'all think I'm playing. Go to Vandalia. They're everywhere. You can hear them in the trees and everything else. But guess what? Where they at in Troy? Can't come near my home. I'm in Troy representing for the Troy Trojans. Really from Piqua, y'all. I was born and raised in Piqua. P-I-Q-U-A, I-N-D-I-N-D-I-N-D-I-A-N-S, Piqua Indians. That's where I came from. I might as well just rep my home city, you know what I'm saying? But no plague can come near me. But I need you to understand that verse 11, it says, this is why it can't come near my home. Verse 11, Dre, look at this. This is what God will do. Remember that Most High we were just talking about? He will order. Do you know what an order is? You don't have no choice. You are ordered to do something. That's a commandment. He said, I will command my angels to protect you wherever you go. So remember from the start, I said, you ever find yourself in a situation where you're scratching your head saying, how did I get myself into this? It's not about how you got into it. It's how did you get out of it. The only way you came out of it, you came through the fire. You don't even smell like smoke because he protected you and he promised I'll protect you wherever you go. So because of that, this is what I do. I don't discount my struggle. Don't discount your struggle because the struggle is real. The temptation is real. The trial is real. The test is real. The lust is real. My addiction is real. My problems are real. My emotions are real. My feelings are real. My desires are real. The situation is real. My pain is real. My feelings are real. Somebody shout, it's real. But I don't discount that. And because, see, I realize that these things are real, I don't have to discount these things, Herm, but what I do is I counteract these things. You know what it means to counteract? When you counteract something, that means you come back against it with something stronger, with something of more force than what it is that came out at you. You do this to reduce its power. So now I realize that even though that I contradict something, I understand that when you counteract something, that means that I come against it with a stronger force and a stronger power. So get this. So because life is real, and because my problems are real, and because my pain is real, and because everything that comes up against me is real, guess what? I have to override it with something that's more powerful than it. I have to override it. And so the only way I can override the struggle that is real is I remind myself just how real God is. I realize that God's power is real. God's love is real. His strength is real. Trey, His forgiveness is real. His compassion is real. Matter of fact, His compassions are renewed every single day. So His grace is real. His mercy is real. His faithfulness is real. Marla, His kindness is real. His love is real. Somebody shout, it's real. It's real. It is real. People of God, I know that there are times on this Christian walk where you feel like you're all alone. And that's okay. It's okay to feel that way. But I'm here to tell you that it's just a setup. You're really not all alone. You may feel like you're all alone, but you're not alone. You got to understand that a good teacher is always quiet during a test. You're not alone. God is always right there with you, Marla. As a matter of fact, in Hebrews 13:5, you don't have to go there, Eve. Hebrews 13:5, He said, I will never leave you and I'll never forsake you. See, we often say that He'll never forsake me, but do you really know what it means, the word forsake? It just simply means He'll never abandon me. He'll never depart from me. He'll never quit on me. He'll never give up on me. He'll never leave me. He'll always be right there with me. He won't turn His back on me. You ever have yourself in a situation where someone leaves you, when somebody departs from you, when somebody turns their back on you, when somebody gives up on you? Have you? Sure. We all have. But God's saying, that ain't me. I'm not that guy. God is saying, I'm not that guy. God is saying, I'll be there with you every step of the way. Lady Katana, He said, I'll be there every step of the way, which means that He will be there every second of every minute of every hour of every day of every week of every month of every year of every century of every decade. He said, I will not leave you. God will never leave you. So as Pastor Freddie makes his way up to the front, people of God, I need you to, if you don't walk away with no other takeaway than to realize that this is only a setup. This is only a setup. The enemy intended it for your bad, but God intended it for your good. That's right. Stand to your feet. Can we all let's stand to our feet. We're going to get out of here. But it's important that you realize that it is only a setup. Sure, things might not always go your way, but if you stay the course, if you trust God, He said, don't just know that I'm God, but trust me. Believe in me. Because I'll never let you down. I'll never leave you. I'm here always, lo, even until the end of the earth. He said, I'm right here. I ain't going nowhere. He's saying, I got you. Don't allow your test, something that is temporary, to become permanent. Don't make your temporary circumstance